Hey, Carrie here. I help my defeated VSG sisters overcome self doubt so that we can build the skills to have more, do more, and be more. Okay, let's do this. Surgery is only one tool. It's time to add the other tools to the toolbox because it's your body, your health, your life. Today, I want to talk about when do I, should I talk about my VSG surgery. If you're like me, the decision to have surgery was not an easy one. And that's for many reasons. So stay tuned. I'm going to talk about how to have that conversation. And if you keep watching to the end, that's when I'm going to talk about how to handle those dreaded naysayers in our lives. You know who they are. Why do we hesitate to tell others about our surgery? It's really about fear about not wanting to hear negative comments and judgments, fear about not wanting to hear the horror stories, because obviously someone has a horror story that they want to tell us about. Maybe it's pride and we just don't want to ask people for help, or we don't want to worry people. Maybe we're scared to be a little vulnerable, meaning maybe we won't get the support we need and we have to go at it alone. Or maybe it's just we don't want our weight to be the conversation, the topic of conversation for everyone, right? Everybody has eagle eyes on us. We were super uncomfortable about that before surgery. So why would we want that on ourselves after surgery? Those are all just kind of the fears that we kind of hesitate to tell even our loved ones about having surgery. So why do people in our lives feel like they're obligated to add their 2 cents? It's probably because they're scared of change, just like you might be scared of change. They don't want to see their loved ones change because that means they have to change. They know a version of you, and maybe they can't see that new version of you. We can't even see that new version of us yet. That makes people super uncomfortable. And then what about all those comments that we hear, right? If we do have the courage to tell someone, and then all of a sudden we hear, you're going to have surgery? That's pretty risky. Are you sure you want that? What, you're going to have surgery? You don't look that fat. You're going to have surgery? Why don't you just do the right thing? Like put some more effort into it and diet and exercise. Or you're going to have surgery? You don't really need this. If you just did this, and then they give you a list of all the things that they think you haven't thought of yet. So do we have a responsibility to tell people? Now that's dependent on your situation, and that probably applies to maybe the responsibility at work. Depending on your position, who do you work with? What does your HR say? You're going to need time off from work, and everybody's going to be different. It's all about healing, and we all heal a little bit differently. So it really depends on what your position is, how much time you need off, and what does your contract say? Maybe it says something that you need to notify your work situation, your employer, your boss, your coworkers, HR. So that's just something to think about and research before. I say if you're going to tell people or not, or when, or who, or why, you really need to be selective. For example, social media. I see some sisters just blasting it on social media, and if they're comfortable with that, awesome, great, it works for you. If you're considering it, maybe just consider about how much work it takes to get to your surgery date. So you just want to make sure, are you blasting it and maybe something changes? Maybe your insurance doesn't kick in. Maybe you decide not to do it, and that's okay. You just want to make sure, think ahead for the future of what and where and how you're going to share things. And then my big thing is, no matter how much you share, if you share, who you share it with, and when you share it, you really need to be able to handle how to respond. And that might take practice, right? You need to be able to respond. And you don't want to fabricate and you don't want to lie. Now, I'm a culprit of this, and I'll explain that a little bit further, but I did fabricate and I did lie and it caught up with me, and I don't feel good about that. So I just want you to learn from me, respond, have your answers, just don't lie and fabricate the answers. Now, before the surgery, just think about it. Does everybody need to know? Probably only a key few people do, because you're not going to have any significant changes yet. So you can keep it pretty private if that's something you want, because not everybody's going to know. It's not going to be obvious. And then think about, who do you need around you to support? And I really promote and empower you to have supportive people so that you can do the best healing you possibly can do. And then after, it's really about your situation and how much you want to share. And you're going to have to be prepared for what I call the hall monitors, right? Like the ex-smoker. There's going to be people out there, if you start sharing, that's going to have their opinion. And that's okay. They're allowed their opinion, but you need to be able to respond. And everybody's going to have their 2 cents to share with you. So, are you proud of it? Are you a little worried about it? Do you need to educate them on surgery? But at the end of the day, you don't have to educate them about the surgery. This is about you. But, you're going to have people out there and you have to be prepared for that. I would start with asking, are you okay with the decision? Are you okay with your surgery decision? You've got to be okay with your decision before anyone else is going to be okay with your decision. You have the right to keep it private. You can share as much as you want or as little as you want, or not at all. It's up to you. It's your body. It's your life. It's your health. Remember, not everyone's going to be supportive all the time. You get that. You know that. Be prepared. If someone has a negative comment, judgment, opinion, remember, that's more about them than it is about you. Maybe consider only telling the ones that you feel will support you. If you decide to tell them what you need, tell them what you want, tell them how to support you. Sometimes you have to be super specific with people that surround you that want to support you and help you, but you have to tell them exactly what that means. So you need to know how people can support you through this journey. So is there a right time? For me, I decided to tell my husband. My husband saw me with my journey leading up to the surgery date, why I wanted to make this hard decision. He saw all the things. So it wasn't a hard thing to tell my husband. My husband totally and completely supported me. Now, when I told my coworkers and my boss, I had a specific situation where I worked with a very small team. I told my boss that I was having serious surgery. It had to do with my body and I needed some time to recover. I did not get into the specifics. That was my choice. With my coworker, because I worked with one coworker super close, I did tell her exactly what was going on, and she was super supportive. Now, other coworkers that I would call friends, but more of a coworker, not really a super best friend, I didn't tell them specifically. And I do regret that. I kind of fabricated it. And I had to really do some research and digging deep on why I decided to handle it that way. It was about me not being comfortable with my own journey. So that didn't really work for me. So that's just something to consider. Don't fabricate or lie. Either decide to tell, be prepared, or don't tell them at all. How do we have an actual convo with our loved ones, like say a partner or spouse or a family member? These are the ones that are super important to have, but can be the most nerve-wracking, right? So this is just an example. Sit them down, be comfortable, be prepared, have those answers to the questions that you possibly think they might ask. And then you sit them down and you say, hey, I need you to listen to me. I need to have this serious conversation with you. First of all, I want to thank you for all the years that you've seen me struggle with my weight. You've heard me complain about my weight. You've seen me try and fail at all the things. I just want to thank you for sticking with me and going through that hard journey. I'm sure it was hard to watch. And I know you've worried about me, that you're scared for me, that you've even wanted to fix it for me. But I'm here to tell you that I have decided to do something. And what that decision is to have bariatric surgery. Before you have a comment, I just want to say that I believe I've done all my research. I've asked all the questions. And at the end of the day, I'm meant for more. I'm meant to be the healthiest person that I possibly can be. And I feel after doing all my research, asking all my questions, and making this super hard decision, I feel this is right for me. I know this is super hard for you to hear, but I truly need to invest in myself once and for all. It's important that I do this now. I know this is a lot to take in. If you support me with my surgery, then I will reward you with, and then you'll fill in the blank. Now, maybe that's stop complaining. Maybe that's you're going to go on that vacation that you promised to do. Maybe you will get back into doing something that you've loved to do. Maybe it's about getting involved with your kids or grandkids. Whatever it is, you're going to say, if you support me when I have this surgery, then I will reward you with, and then you fill in that blank. And then you're going to say, these are the following ways that you can support me. And then you're going to list them. You're going to be super specific. And then once you have this conversation that we've just kind of talked about here, then you have to do it. You have to follow through with what you said you're going to reward them with. And then you have to stop the complaining. You have to do everything that you said that this is going to help you do. You're going to have to stop the behavior that you did before. You're going to have to do the work. They're going to have to trust in you and see you do the work. And remember, you have to hold space for yourself until others can get there, meaning you're going to have to hold that space, trust yourself, be consistent, and you're going to have to be patient with the others around you so that they see you getting there. Your decisiveness is going to help dictate theirs. Your certainty in this, your ability to role model your belief in your decision is going to help them believe in your decision. You can't expect others to show up for you if you cannot show up for yourself. So grab a piece of paper, open up your notebook. We're going to talk about how to handle those naysayers in our lives. You know who they are. How to handle those naysayers. Number one, safeguard your goals. Your goals, they're your goals. Protect them. Don't let others taint them. For example, I am very selective on who I share my goals with. I rarely talk to people unless they ask me about them because they're mine. They're my goals and they might even change. And I don't want people to say, you said this, so now you're doing that. Number two, assess their past. Ask yourself, are they living the life that you want to live? Do they have the knowledge and experience to talk really freely, openly, and accurately about it? If the answers are no, no, and no, then I discount what they have to say to me. A real simple example of this is if you're at work and your overweight colleagues are giving you all the reasons you should eat this way, do this, do that. Typically, I would just ignore them. Number three, critique their words. Will applying the advice they're giving you make you better off? If your answers are no, no, and no, then once again, ignore what they're saying to you. You always have a choice on how to react to someone's words. Number five, don't participate in the conversation. If people insist on telling you their opinion and you just can't get away from the conversation, then just respond really simply by, I see, okay. You don't have to assert yourself. You don't have to fight back. And you don't even have to explain your stance. Trust me, it's just a complete waste of time because the naysayer is always going to have reasons to justify their answer. The naysayer will come up with all kinds of reasons to justify their stance and say that you're wrong and they're right. So it's not worth getting into it because they thrive on discouraging you and being resistant to what you have to say. So it's just not worth it. Switch the topics if you have to. Number six, if possible, remove the naysayer. Now, I know this is super hard because if it's a loved one, it's different than it is when it's a colleague or a coworker or acquaintance. If it's a colleague or a coworker or acquaintance, I get it, you have to work with them, but you don't have to participate and be with them 24/7. Now, if it's a loved one, it might be not so easy, but it is possible. If they're not there to support you, maybe you need to remove them from your life if possible, or at least dramatically reduce your interaction with them on this topic. Number seven, surround yourself with the champions and cheerleaders and supporters of your life. They say we're the average of the 5 people that we surround ourselves. So choose the 5 people that you want to spend time with and reduce the naysayers in your life. If you don't have those people in your life, it's okay. Think about all the people out there because they are out there wanting and walking the same path as you. So join a support group, join a Facebook group, surround yourself with a tribe and a community that is doing the things that you're doing so that they can support you on your journey. Lastly, number 8, always remember your big why. If that happens, recall back, what is your bigger why? Why are you doing this? What is it for? Then ask yourself, is it really worth putting our goals on hold because of some naysayers in our lives? For me, the answer is pretty simple, pretty clear, is no. I'm not willing to let naysayers get in the way of living my best self and my best life. Lastly, don't ever deny yourself due to some naysayers. Being said, now you don't be a naysayer. Don't be a wet blanket for others, as you don't want others to be a wet blanket for you. So let's summarize. Know your why, do your research, practice. Number 4, the big one, always ask for support, not permission. Remember to take a breath. And before you go, let me know in the comments down below, who's scarier to tell? Is it your loved one or is it a colleague? Thank you so much for watching this video. Once again, if you found value, please give it a thumbs up, share the video, subscribe, and please let me know, are there any other VSG life skills that you want me to take action on and do a video? Check out my other 2 videos. How to have a difficult conversation with your doctor and VSG surgery. Did you know it has nothing to do with weight loss?